Hey everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan, and we've got a very strong positive price action happening in the market today. Bitcoin is approaching 31,000 and Ethereum has an impressive price up over 2,000 with an 11% gain in the last 24 hours. There are some other standouts too. We've got ADA up 8%, Doge up 8%, Lido DAO up 14%, Aptos up 16%, and Arbitrum within the top 100 has a 27% gain in the last 24 hours. Doge is likely up with the Elon Musk announcing that eToro Exchange and Twitter are going to have an integration. It's, I think, the first big step to make Twitter into a super app. It's going to have a one click, and then you can view on eToro with just clicking on the cash tag. That's like a hashtag on Twitter, but with the $sign, and you will go right to the eToro website where you can trade crypto. Before we dive deep into a Ripple announcement that needs to be discussed, a massive whale, check this out, put 1.8 million of Shiba into a wallet. That amount nearly is 5 trillion in the Shiba token. That is quite something. I also want you to know that Hong Kong is making a dramatic change back into crypto. Their largest online bank, ZA, began a crypto fiat swap. The fiats are the US dollar, the Hong Kong dollar, and the Chinese yuan. I'm going to play a video at the end, which will take you out, and it will truly change the way you think about the dethroning of the US dollar. The main purpose of this video is to discuss the Liquidity Hub announcement made today by Ripple with a glaring, in-your-face, absent mention of XRP. And I'm going to share with you the Liquidity Hub documents. They're public. They're not promoted by the PR department, but you're going to learn a lot. I was not the only person to notice that XRP is not in the dashboard. Wrath of Kahneman tweeted that a looming question if other crypto just might offer liquidity replacing XRP. The dashboard is Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, Ethereum Classic, and Litecoin. Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash are a fork of Bitcoin. Why this is so surprising to me is back in May 2021, Ashish Birla, then the GM of Ripple, first introduced Liquidity Hub, and he tweeted out that it would start with XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, and Ethereum Classic. But as you can see, XRP has been dropped. We're going to get into the documentation, but let me read for you the opening paragraph. Liquidity Hub is a turnkey digital asset aggregation platform that sources liquidity for digital and tokenized assets. Via a single API connection, enterprises can easily access reliable and cost-efficient liquidity, powering payments, treasury operations, and more. And if you look here, you have the Bitcoin. This is Ethereum Classic, Litecoin, Ethereum, and Bitcoin Cash. Yet noticeably kind of a lot of space up here, which I'm going to return back to with a comment in a moment. In Ripple's words, the Liquidity Hub is a standalone solution, and it is from the hard-won lessons that Ripple gained sourcing ODL. These deep liquidity pools, and specifically US dollar, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ethereum Classic, Bitcoin Cash, and Litecoin, are going to be the providers to ensure liquidity is sourced when you need it. So it is using the deep liquidity of these pools, not XRP. Sometimes you'll hear YouTubers say that XRP has the deepest liquidity. Well, that's just not true. And in any market, especially crypto, because it is so nascent, it is so small, liquidity really matters. And Bitcoin does matter. In fact, it is the one. It is number one when it comes to liquidity in the spreads, the volume, and the depth. This is an image that was taken from a snapshot on March 31st. And you can see the smaller the contribution of the metric towards its score is, the better it has in liquidity. So the day of that snapshot, the top 5 crypto assets that had the very best liquidity were Bitcoin, Ethereum, Matic, Litecoin, and Doge. As I said, the documentation is about 35 pages long, and you'll find the fees for the crypto assets. These are the fees that Ripple is going to charge you. For example, if you deposit 5 Bitcoin into your account, the network fee is 0.00000012 Bitcoin. So what ends up depositing in your account is 4.99999988 Bitcoin. The solution also uses an authentication token. That is used to access the private liquidity hub or the API at the endpoints. But the biggest find for me was the accounts are funded with USD, US dollars, and the transfers use 2 channels to clear, a Fed wire and an ACH wire transfer. This does not use RippleNet rails, nor do I have any reason to believe this is on the XRP ledger. Now, before you think this video is going south, David did confirm today that he wouldn't be surprised if ODL, with the use of the digital asset XRP, was at about 60% of the remittances. Getting back to the graphic and why I think there could possibly be a lot of room here, well, XRP could easily take this position should we have a really good summary judgment. Can it be in the future? I would imagine very possible. But it's more important to start focusing on who is building on the XRP ledger and using the digital asset XRP. Don't rely on Ripple.
Look, not being a US citizen, I guess I take a maybe a more global view of their position or where they sit today. I think they need to be careful about risking, the prime position the US dollar has in this market. I think if you looked at it with a cynical view, you could say, the best case outcome from a monetary perspective was that crypto never existed. The second best outcome from a US perspective was it exists, but it trades against a US dollar as the prime currency that it's traded against. And so, if this asset class succeeds and it grows into anything like I expect it to grow into, it'll drag the US dollar into new places, right, into new grounds. And we've kind of seen that with stablecoins. When you move through Southeast Asia, you see people using Tether in jurisdictions where you never saw US dollars before. In a way, it's been that sort of first wave of pushing the US dollar into new markets. And let's be frank, they need new buyers of US dollars given the deficits that they're running. And so I think the US is in an incredible position of building that almost that kind of new sort of petrodollar type system where they become the kind of core currency against new asset class. And I think they need to be careful that they don't risk that, because there is alternatives, right? It wasn't ordained that this asset class had to trade against the US dollar from day one, right? Like it could have had another currency that became that sort of primary currency that it was benchmarked against, and it's just been the US dollar to date. But if that gets too hard,
Chinese try and, because the Chinese have used it for capital flight, so they've kind of liked the stable coin, right? It's been very useful for them. They get money out, Southeast Asians get money in, and it's kind of this nice kind of two-way flow. But what happens if Binance kind of scale the RMB stablecoin because it's pegged to the dollar?
Yeah,
it's kind of like a cheeky way of the Chinese financing themselves potentially.
Yeah, or a Hong Kong dollar. Like a Hong Kong dollar stablecoin would make a bunch of sense, right? It's a currency, again, pegged around the dollar, and it's a currency that most people in the world, particularly in the finance world, are used to getting. And if I was to look around the world at a key competitor for potential US dollar, it would be, Swiss, for stablecoin would be Swiss franc and Hong Kong dollar. Now the Swiss franc has a problem with negative rates, and so it becomes kind of super expensive in a stablecoin construct. But the Hong Kong dollar sits in a pretty good spot. Some of the points you mentioned, plus that sort of already ingrained in the sort of the global financial system. So,
and the Chinese are ramping up Hong Kong again in crypto terms.
Yeah, and I think that's the interesting thing as we've watched this US frenzy of regulatory activity over the last sort of month or so. The counterpoint to it is Hong Kong kind of opening, and then the market that dominated crypto when I first entered the space seems to be kind of awakening from a few years sleep. And I think the Hong Kong regulatory landscape that comes in, and the start of June is extremely exciting for the space, and it provides that nice kind of counterpoint. And to be honest, that sort of competitive tension that the tech needs to make sure that regulators don't overreach.